Welcome to Unboxed Live. Thanks for joining us today. Do not adjust your screen. I am not Rob Gagne. Rob Gagne, the man with his own logo, will be back with us next week. I do not know who his guest is next week, but I'm super excited about the guest that Rob set up for today. I'm excited for a couple of reasons. One, I think the guy is a heck of a human being from the exposure that I've had to him in the cigar industry, and I'm in love with their cigars. So I want to introduce you to, live from, I'm assuming you're in Texas, Robert Holt.
Thanks, Drew. And of course, we give a quick shout out to Brother Rob and what he's going through to start on our side of the table. But I am not in Texas. I'm at a closed location, sitting outside the bandwagon, which is our little RV that has kept me away from the pandemic and all the challenges of the pandemic. But if I disclose it, the next thing you know, I'll have a variety of people sitting around smoking cigars, and I'll probably get COVID. So, but Sharon is back in Texas with Ethan, Jacob, and I'm here on a bright sunny day in November. So it's a perfect time to get together and visit for a little bit, and let's unbox something fun and share something new.
So the line is Southern Draw. It's Robert Holt and his wonderful wife Sharon Holt, and the unboxing today. This just came in this morning. This is actually a revolutionary box, but this is the Desert Rose. The Desert Rose is a 6x44 Lonsdale in this configuration. And if you, Robert, if you want to talk about this stick, I'm going to, actually maybe you want to talk about the innovation of the box as long as I'm going to be opening this.
Well, I'm going to slide my box open while you do it, and I'm going to slowly remove my Boveda 69% right off the top there, because this is Boveda, right? Let's sell some product that, we got to make sure everything arrives in good, safe smoking condition, right? But the Desert Rose, most people know that in 2019, we released the first Desert Rose in the Bellicoso. And the Desert Rose utilizes a much heavier wrapper than the original Rose of Sharon. It's what we call the Ecuadorian cloud-grown Claro. So it's a little thicker, a little heavier, provides a little bit more body than the original Rose of Sharon. We've maintained the Nicaraguan Habano binder. But what we've also done on the Desert Rose is the original single Ligero of the Rose of Sharon, Piloto Cubano, Dominican, has been joined by a second leaf, which is Nicaraguan Corojo 99 Ligero. So this has, as we say, it's a little more aggressive, has quite a bit more body. You'll notice the weight of the smoke on your palate, Drew, because you've smoked a lot of Rose of Sharons just like I have. So, this is the second rendition of the Desert Rose. And the Lonsdale, of course, most people know, 40 to 46 ring gauge is really my wheelhouse. And, we're just proud to be able to rose in a very, as we call it, a very sophisticated format in this round Lonsdale format.
Well, I'm going to give Ramsey, our producer, his Lonsdale. It's part of his requirements when we do this. But then talk about this box, because this box is different than anything that I've seen in the industry. And you guys, I think I got it right. The box, the top actually comes off the box and then becomes a part of the angle display. Did I put the right end? Yeah, that's the right end.
Absolutely. I do think it is a revolutionary box. It is something that Sharon and I were able to work with Humidif Group USA out of Miami. And our goal here was multifaceted. Number one, we really wanted to highlight this special size, this Lonsdale. We chose the Rose of Sharon and the Desert Rose because, it's just got such a market behind it and a growth behind the actual blend. That, again, we use the term the iconic pink band really seems to stand out and sell well with our retail partners. But the beauty here was, we wanted a box that we could produce in great volume. We wanted to make sure that it really captured this kind of what we consider the special nature of this particular size of this blend. And as you noted, the box was really designed so it would be shelf friendly. Again, having the On the lid, for once, we have some great artwork that we've worked on together with our graphics team here at Southern Draw. And I'm closing mine because you've got yours open. But, you know, the main thing here is once you take it off, as you noted there, Drew, this wooden slide here that I'm showing, this wooden slide, when you're sitting at an angle for display on the shelves with the vertical presentation, we don't want the cigars to slide out. We wanted them to stay exactly how they were packed, the bands in the right place. So we do sell bundles to refill for retail partners. So in doing so, as a consumer slides this Desert Rose Vista, if you will, down, they'll be able to select the cigar or cigars they would like. But it also allows the retailers to take those refill bundles, save money by acquiring the bundles, and refill this box so the presentation is maintained the way it is. And as you noted, when you drop the lid into the box into the lid, it has a perfect viewing angle with the blend and the brand and the size for most all shelves. So I think it was a very well executed box. Humidif Group did a phenomenal job for us. And, you know, we're more than thrilled to share it. I tell you, we're excited about this box. And I'll say this, that this box design will be utilized as we expand the core line cigars with the Lonsdale and maybe even other sizes moving forward.
This is a great innovation because in a lot of the stores that I frequent, the store keeps are constantly doing different things to create the angle that they want to create for display, and sometimes those things don't work out well, and you end up with cigars on the floor. People, you know, clumsily don't know how to handle them in the this is a brilliant development for your brand. I love this. You know, and it brings up a point. You know, I fell in love with the Rose of Sharon. I met you in 2017, and you handed me a Rose of Sharon, and I smoked it, and I am now a Connecticut believer. I would say that my progress as a cigar smoker had a lot to do with a bunch of different experiences with Maduros and Habanos, and I kind of avoided Connecticut's because I had kind of an attitude about them being a little bit on the mild side. And so I didn't really go there. But when I tasted that Rose of Sharon, that first Rose of Sharon that I smoked, the richness of it and just the flavors and the intricacy of it really, really hit me. And I love that cigar. That's my go-to. I have a Rose of Sharon just about every day of the week and to start off my day with coffee if I have them in supply in my humidor. And I run out. You guys run out from time to time. I've gone months without being able to get my hands on Toros.
Yeah, it's a good problem and a bad problem to have, of course. The Rose of Sharon has done, I say that it changed the trajectory of Southern Draw when that and the Jacob's Ladder came out. You know, again, I do enjoy a mild cigar and a mild medium cigar from time to time, but I think the beauty was this combination of tobaccos was adding that body and complexity to what traditionally should be a more of a mild bodied cigar. It's a cigar that I can smoke anytime. The addition of the Desert Rose, this little more hardy, this little more aggressive blend profile is really taken off. I mentioned a moment ago the Desert Rose we released last year in 10 count Mazo, the little bundle, but it did so well, Drew, that is a full production cigar in the hundreds of thousands of years, and we've now put those Bellicosos in the standard 20 count boxes and bundles, the one that you're holding in your right hand there. So that cigar is done well. So now we have the Lonsdale, which to me is a different smoking experience than that original Bellicoso. And again, for people that like traditional or thin ring gauge cigars, typically the Lancero or the Gordo. And maybe it's because, I love Lanceros, but it's also because the Robusto and the Toro move so rapidly from production to the warehouse to the retailers that if I ask Sharon for a bundle of Toros for myself, she'll scoff at me and say, you know, customers come first. You don't get any of those. So, you know, it's just kind of exciting to see this Desert Rose take its own position in the market and on the shelves as its own blend, and not just a one-off, if you will.
And one of the things I love about your sticks is the closed foot. And this start, my first taste of this is going to be all wrapper.
Absolutely.
I love that. And I heard somebody said to me that people that really know cigars tend to smoke a Lancero or a Lonsdale. Do you find that with some of the aficionados? Are people inclined to smoke a thinner cigar if they're more of a cigar aficionado?
I won't say that I found that they tend to do it, but I do think people that have smoked and have developed a palate really understand the value of, even though you have a price point difference between thin ring gauge and larger sizes, they understand that it's worth the value, number one, and that it is a unique smoking experience. When you get into the ratio of the wrapper, binder, and filler in a thinner ring gauge, you really do, as you just noted with the closed foot, you get to celebrate and really experience that wrapper in its fullest intention. And people that smoke over time, we see a lot of them moving from bigger ring gauge, 54, 56, 58, even 60. And over time, they do elevate that experience. And what I find for myself is my Lonsdales, my Lanceros, Drew, they're my celebration. They're my time. They're my moment that I typically smoke on by myself. You don't see me smoking them at events or at trade shows and things. They're not something I'm walking the show floor or an event floor with, but they're my time in my chair on the patio or here at the RV. Those are my celebrations for whatever happened that day.
I typically do larger ring gauges if I'm out fishing or if I'm hunting or if I'm playing golf or something, and I'm not as focused on the smoking experience as I am when I really sit down focused on this quiet time that I'm going to have. And it really is. It's a refreshing part of my day. It's very hard to, and I know you get a lot done while smoking cigars every day. But cigars in general have really helped me to slow down and be more present in my day by having these cigar moments along the way. So I'm so impressed with your line. And this Desert Rose, this is a little spicier than the original Rose.
Absolutely. Again, intentional, but I think it allows the Rose of Sharon to be enjoyed in more occasions, not just as a morning with coffee type cigar or a palate cleanser between more aggressive cigars or more fuller bodied cigars. The Desert Rose for me is a cigar that I could put 5 in my pocket and literally smoke all 5 of them in a row, which I think the original Rose of Sharon, I would take one or two. I would actually put something in the middle of that. I tend to smoke, go up and down in my smoking throughout the day, right? There's times I smoke the Jacob's Ladder to begin the day. I've got a lot to do. I need to start with the pop or the Cedrus maybe. But for me, the Desert Rose is something I think as a family we're most proud of putting out because it really elevated something that already had a great market with incredible growth and a lot of positive vibes behind it. How do you get better at something that has done that for your brand? And I think working together with AJ Fernandez, working together with our partners, whether it was in the packaging or cigar rings, really trying to keep the integrity, if you will, Drew, of the original Rose of Sharon, but bringing an elevating that experience a little bit. I think it was it was almost a flawless performance of the partners in allowing us to bring this to market.
So you brought up AJ Fernandez, and when I started smoking cigars, I became familiar with AJ Fernandez right away because there were a number of sticks in the store that I was in that were produced by AJ Fernandez. Talk about the relationship and how it came about with AJ Fernandez and why they're the partner. You have options. You had options, and you chose AJ Fernandez. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I'll go in briefly. First of all, I think we have to acknowledge the fact that Southern Draw is more than Robert and Sharon and Ethan. It's a family-owned brand. It's a family that has contributed not only money and time and resources, but knowledge. I mean, whether they come from the winemaking, distillery, brewing business, they come from military experiences, all of those came into what was our mission, what was our vision, and how would we execute that. And what it came down to was this. We wanted to be very charity, mission driven, but you still have to run a business. And we wanted to kind of be made from scratch. You know, we wanted to not take any shortcuts, pay attention to the little things. We love the culture. We love the tradition of the cigar industry. And obviously AJ has seen dynamic, incredible growth because of what he does for the industry, and not only for his own brand, but for other people's brands. Now, in going to AJ, you know, now over 7 years ago, it was really a discussion about how we looked at two things: consistency and sustainability, right? And I brought to AJ a couple of the original samples of the Kudzu and the Firethorn, the two original cigars that we were going to bring to market and launch Southern Draw. Well, originally they weren't going to be made in the AJ Fernandez factory, but he brought some key points to my attention, which was not just the tobaccos that we use, but the grade of those tobaccos and replicating the fermentation and aging process to create the consistency we were looking for. And without disparaging any other factory or anyone, what he said was, this is what I would do with you if you chose to do business with me. So when you say, Drew, that we have a lot of options and a lot of factories and we could go anywhere we want, maybe that's the case. Certainly back then, and maybe even more so today. But let's look at it this way. AJ's got so many people that want to do business with him that are probably far less resource driven and demanding than Southern Draw, but he chose us, right? He gave us the grace to come in as a brand that had, you know, no pedigree. We have no history in this industry. We don't have 3 or 4 generations of family. We just had a concept of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to do it. And we rely heavily on our partners to achieve that objective. And for him to stick with us through his growth, he could certainly replace the production of Southern Draw with, you know, people that are far well-heeled and have more of a pedigree than I do. But we're honored that they've stuck it out with us and continued to help us meet those two objectives, Drew, which again is consistency and sustainability of our brand.
So I've got to believe that he loves these cigars. I mean, he's in love with your line the way I'm in love with your line. And I have to admit, I'm not well versed in your line. I mean, I've smoked, obviously, the Rose of Sharon Rob referred to it as your Opus X, that's the kind of impact cigar that can really set a standard in the industry for the kind of smoke that it is. I've tried the Desert Rose before. I actually bought some when the Rose of Sharon were out of stock, and I love those too. They are a beefier, more they pack a bigger punch. I've smoked your 300 hands. I tried your Cedrus at the show. I haven't had the Cedrus with any consistency, and I don't think I've had a Jacob's Ladder or a Kudzu. Or your Firethorn was your first. Was Firethorn first or was Kudzu first?
At the same time, we released Firethorn and Kudzu on the exact same date in the same Robusto, Toro, Gordo configurations, and you know, again, the roots of the brand. But our intention in doing that, Drew, was they were blends that we'd worked on for some time that really covered the middle section of the market, that medium plus to medium full marketplace, and we've chose the 3 best-selling sizes for most retailers in the Robusto, Toro, Gordo. But then again, we came back and added the Rose of Sharon to the left side of the spectrum, and then the Jacob's Ladder to the right side, the extreme end of the spectrum, and then right down the middle, we dropped in the Cedrus. And of course, you know, we've got some plans coming up here in another month that's going to fortify that core line even more so. But they all have a place and time, I think, in the growth and trajectory of the company to satisfy people within certain ranges. But I think the crossover here, Drew, is having people that typically only smoke mild reaching across and reaching for a Kudzu, a Firethorn, or even a Jacob's Ladder, but even having people that are full-bodied, full-flavored, declared, flavor addicts, right? that'll reach over and grab a Rose of Sharon or a Firethorn. To me, that is a unique selling point for us, and it's really afforded us to grow across all the lines, not just whatever the newest one was.
Yeah, this size is different than what my experience was with the Bellicoso. I wouldn't say it's dramatically different. I mean, there's flavor comparability, but it's a different smoke. I mean, the contrast between these two sizes is quite distinct.
And it's intentional. I've always said that when you look at consistency for us, the Robusto, Toro, Gordo, based on the ratios and how we blended those, they should be very consistent smokes. And those are, again, 52, 54, and 60 ring gauge cigars. To me, the Lancero is the most unique, stands alone. It really celebrates the wrapper, and it's the most sophisticated or sexy, if you will. When we get into our Perfectos, we typically change ratios in the wrapper, which means we use multiple wrappers instead of a binder, and we can change the flavor profile and the experience. And then, of course, the Bellicoso, the beauty of that is those are typically cigars for us that have very aggressive post-roll aging, which means we thought years in advance about when we were going to release the Bellicosos of any blend for a special occasion. The Lustrum last year obviously did extremely well. The Desert Rose did extremely well. The Cedrus was a phenomenal addition 2 years ago, which we brought the Bellicoso to market first to, again, honor Phil and Shelley Hogan that you mentioned a little bit earlier. But this Lonsdale is something that I've been just on the edge of my seat about for years, but it had to be the right time. Desert Rose did what it did. It was easy for us to say, instead of the Rose of Sharon being the Lonsdale, the Desert Rose blend, the hardier blend in this size would be the one that we chose. And I tell you, I think we made the right decision. I think the market's going to appreciate this particular size and this particular blend.
You're watching Unboxed Live, brought to you by Boveda. My name's Drew Emmer. We're with Robert Holt from Southern Draw Cigars. This is the Desert Rose Lonsdale 6x44 that I'm smoking. Is that what you're smoking as well?
Yes, sir.
And I want to come back to, you mentioned time, and one of the references you made to, I posted the tobacco business interview from April of 2020 that you did, which was a great interview. And there's also a previous episode of Box Press, episode number 9, where you and Rob had a conversation in Houston, which covered just a breadth of detail about what's behind this line of cigars. I want to talk to you about time, because one of the references that you made was the fact that there's a plan, that you've planned out the trajectory of this brand over a number of years, and we're really just in the beginning of it. You started in 13, 14, and now we're in 20, and you've got another 5, 10, 15 years of planning that you've already done. Can you talk about what we can expect in the future from Southern Draw?
Again, I hope that everyone expects that, we're going to continue. The things that we put on the market are meant to be products that we were going to maintain in the marketplace, right? We've been blessed in a sense that we haven't had to stop making certain blends or sizes because they don't sell. They don't sell everywhere, but they sell across the board. But I do think it's very important for us to continue to innovate based on our original plan and the availability of the natural resources, meaning the tobacco and the process of those tobaccos, so we don't shortcut. We happen to have a partner that is so focused on process that it allows us to execute something that maybe, a company of our size that's no better capitalized than we are, it would have been preventative, right? But we've been blessed in that sense. So, we're about halfway through our first 15-year production and release cycle. Spent a lot of time and money with the FDA compliance issues and things. But if you go back to 2014, 15, and early 2016, we were able to produce all these wonderful blends and sizes and package options and get those imported into the United States, get the S-chip paid, get the import tax paid, get them into a couple of retailers in Texas, get them into our Texas warehouses with our partner, and really kind of keep the lid on them after the fact, but to be in compliance the best that we understood compliance to be. So I would say, again, Lord willing, and I say that with a great exclamation point, because we've all seen what a year like this could do to us, not just the pandemic, but other crises in our own communities that can affect our business. Crisis in Nicaragua and Honduras and the DR, as we have not just political, social unrest, but we really have natural disasters. I mean, Drew, everything affects what we do in our plan. So we have to stay true to our mission. And again, we hope that continues. But, we have plans, and we think that our plans have been sound to this date. But our challenge, of course, is going to be to maintain what we do while growing at the rate that we need to grow because this is not an inexpensive business to be in, and we're just not wealthy people. Our family has really made themselves uncomfortable in financial support of the brands. Now, I say that, Drew, because I think it's also an asset. The asset is we're in the struggle. We're in the same struggle in a very similar way that the people that produce our cigars and package our cigars and distribute our cigars. I don't know that in our supply chain that we have anyone that is just well-heeled, comfortable, and whether they could take it or leave it. And I'm not talking about AJ's growth at the factory and his brands, but I'm talking about in our supply chain at Southern Draw, the people that we depend on most know. I believe they know in their heart that we're in the struggle with them. We're not living, a life of luxury here. We're really risking everything we do every quarter to survive and to grow based on that plan. So we just hope that, our retailers, our media partners, our consumers, our family continues to support us, because the only way we're going to grow and the only way we're going to continue making what we've brought to market, but expanding that and keeping it fresh and new, is everybody to participate. We can't have a single portion of this cycle fail us, right? So it's a lot of faith and a lot of hope and a lot of prayer that puts us in a position. And we hope that's what happens. We hope we'll continue to get what we do, reach the people that we reach, have the conversation with the people we have it, and hopefully we're looked at in the industry as a solid member of the community that's really trying to do the right thing in the right way.
Well, you're setting an example for everybody about how to be in the community. I mean, the ethic behind your Ignite series, the charity work that you've done over the years with the Warriors projects, the things the support, the ethic behind what you do. You're unabashed about your faith in the way you profess your brand, the way you profess your faith in your brand. And I think that's dynamite. I mean, I have to confess that I have a little bit of an allergy to certain people in the religious community because they rub me the wrong way. But I meet you and Sharon, and I spend time with you guys, and all I want to do is spend more time with you guys. You're a ton of fun. You're incredibly respectful to people. You're setting a standard and setting an example that is so welcome in my eyes. I'm a little older than the average guy at the show these days, but when I see the way you guys operate, you're a ton of fun, and you're also incredibly principled people. And I just want to say out loud in public, thank you for having the courage of your convictions to stand up and be who you are, because it's just incredibly important to me personally, to us as a company. I mean, Boveda is hearing the same drummer that you guys are dancing to. I mean, it's such a refreshing thing for us to have you guys in this, and for us to be partnered with you is an absolute privilege.
Well, thank you for the kind words. I think everybody knows by now, Drew, that the root of our conviction goes to the strength of both Sharon and Ethan Jacob in our family. We are not religious people in the context of religion. That's not our intention at all. But we are people of faith, and that people of faith covers a lot of religions. We live in a country of freedom of religion. But if I had to write it again and look at the Constitution and look at our amendments, I would reword that to a sense that we have the freedom of faith, and that is to have faith, to have no faith, or to have faith in whatever we choose. And in our case, we would be remiss if we did not continue to honor that faith, because I think the blessings that have come to us are our ability to stay together during controversy and tough times comes from faith. And, faith being something that means we believe in something for which we don't have all the evidence, the physical evidence. It's easy to analyze. It's easy to say your life experiences have taught you something. Mine have taught me something differently. It's easy to be divisive. But I tell you what, it's virtually impossible to have an adverse reaction to people of faith that display it daily, in a sense that it's about other people. It's not about ourselves. It's about this community. It's about the people around us. It's about tolerance. It's about finding the best common ground to have that conversation, which, again, I think we all know that cigars have provided all of us that many times. And again, we're not out here preaching and Bible thumping. What we're doing is we're sharing our faith through our works, and we're hoping that that's a positive influence. And it doesn't matter to us if you're of Muslim faith or if you're of Hindu faith or if you're a Christian faith. It's not the point. The point is have faith. And have faith in man, and have faith in your neighbors, have faith in your partners, have faith in your media, have faith in each other, because that can't be wrong in our opinion.
So this is a great segue to talk about the one thing I want to talk about that I think is the most important piece of the Southern Draw brand, and that is your lovely wife, Sharon. Absolute class act, marvelous personality, incredibly caring person. She's the driving force behind everything that this brand represents. And dude, you are so blessed to have such an awesome wife. I just want to say that publicly too, because I just think I love your wife. I think she's dynamite, awesome human being. She's been so kind to me. She's incredible. Takes care of me. I've been blown away by the way she treats people. And I know it's not just me. I know she likes me because, I'm with Boveda and we're all partners. But it's just such a treat to know a woman like your wife. What a fantastic human being.
Well, thank you again. I can never hear that enough, right? Because ultimately I know it to be true. I've said this many times, but I'll say it again. I've been able to travel the world over many times. I've met many people. I've spent incredible amounts of time with people of, all facets of life. And she simply is the best person I have ever met. And that's a true blessing, right, in itself. But I think when we launched this brand and we came out of some other turmoil in our business life, financial life, and the family got together and said, we're going to support you guys on this, I went right after it, right? I went right out of the gate. Boom, let's get the blends, let's get the products, let's get the packaging, let's go give it a shot. But what we were lacking, Drew, was we were really lacking heart, and we were lacking the soul of the brand, what it really meant. Not the words on the webpage, not the press releases, but really where that came from. But as I said, 2016, 2017, when I really look at the inspirations, not only of Sharon, but of Ethan Jacob, because a young man in this generation, this new generation of me first, instant gratification, of selfishness that I have seen, and we've all seen it. This generation of less influences that we had from our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, where we had a community that raised us, where they guided us and they disciplined us, but they also took care of us. I don't see that happening in most communities today. But I think me accepting that the heart and the soul of what we do came from their influences, and to capture that into cigars and blends that really bring that character, and sharing that story where when people like yourself that do meet them understand that the blend and the brand really is their character and personality more than just another cigar. It wasn't a marketing ploy. It was really my way of saying, this is all I have to give, and I'm going to give it in a very open setting, which is once you get to meet these people and you understand that Southern Draw is what it is because the heart and the soul that they've put into our family and the life in the community, we started going places, right? And I can't say enough about that.
Well, and cigar smoking is a social engagement. People meet one another, they converse with each other, they spend time, they value each other over a cigar, and it's been an absolute treat for me to light up this Desert Rose. This was the unboxing for today. I couldn't be more excited about Southern Draw. The Desert Rose is an incredible taste experience. I've been a fan of the Rose of Sharon from the get-go. Everything that you've done is quality. There isn't a dog in the bunch. Everything that you've put out is really excellent, and I just want to acknowledge you for that. Tell people how to find your cigars out there in the world.
Well, thank you, Drew. Again, excited to share this with you guys today. I think it being so new to the market, again, acknowledging the package and the cigar and the size and the real emphasis of what we're trying to do here is important. Hundreds, if not 1,000 valued retail partners in the country. But whether you shop at your local brick and mortars, whether you shop at the larger brick and mortars around the country, or if you're relegated to home in the world of pandemic and you're having to buy online, most of those do have distribution channels that'll let you look at a catalog or online or make a phone call. So it's hard to come out and say exactly where to get every Southern Draw. But if you go to southerndrawcigars.com, if you click on our retailer list, we try to keep it updated. I know Sharon is working actively now to make sure those are current accounts, current information. But we've been blessed enough to sell our cigars in all 50 states and lots of, every military facility in the world, thanks to our friends at J.C. Newman that distribute Southern Draw throughout the military and government community globally. And we look to expand on that project. But here's what I say to people. I do monitor social media, Instagram, Facebook, Southern Draw Cigars, and Robert Holt. And if you send me a message and tell me where you're at, I'll promise you this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to steer you to the closest brick and mortar to your home that is convenient for you to get it. I'm not going to shortcut it. I'm not going to tell you just go to this website or that website unless you can't get what you need. We're not playing favorites. Every partner of ours, Drew, big or small, is equal value to us. But our goal is to make sure we get them in the hands of the consumers that want them, and we appreciate the support. But just feel free to send me a direct message, Instagram, email, whatever it may be, and I'll get back to you and I'll let you know where to get them. And if you follow our social media, what you're going to do, you're going to find everything that's new, how to get it, when it's coming out, and to kind of keep you on top of the game.
So it's the Desert Rose today on Unboxed Live from Boveda. I'm Drew. I'm sitting in for Rob. The great Rob will be back next week sitting in this chair. It's been a privilege to sit in for Rob. It's been a privilege to have Robert Holt from Southern Draw Cigars. Robert, I love the line of cigars. I love you guys. We couldn't be more pleased to have Boveda be in every box of Southern Draw Cigars. Thank you so much for the kindness and the insight that you brought today and every day that we get a chance to talk to you on any of these productions. It's just awesome. You're doing an awesome job, and I want to wish you and Sharon the very best as we come into this awesome holiday season.
Well, thank you, Brother Drew. And again, likewise, we've appreciated the support, not only protecting our product so that they're ready to be smoked in any situation. That's important. But let's not forget that in the last 7 years, Boveda has stepped up the mission of Southern Draw Cigars. And in doing so, led by Rob, you guys have donated your product to all of our charitable missions to ensure that when those cigars are delivered to our military community or our people in need that just need a little pick-me-up and a little quality of life, you've made sure that the product gets there equally as important than just going to our retail partners. So let's not forget about that. But we're honored. We're thankful. We appreciate you sharing this exciting new release with everybody on your channels and distribution, and we look forward to normalcy, getting back together, sitting across from one another and smoking the new Desert Rose Lonsdale. And as we say, we got...
You're awesome, man. I really appreciate you.
I'm just anxious that we get to share it. Thank you, brother.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Actually, I won't, but Rob will be back. We'll see you next time on Unboxed Live from Boveda. Thanks a lot for watching.